تبين معافيناتك تبين معافيناتك.
Somalia is a country located in the Horn of Africa. It's bordered by Ethiopia, Djibouti, and Kenya, with the Gulf of Aden to the west and the Indian Ocean to the east. Somalia has a population of around 12.3 million people, with around 85% of residents being ethnic Somalis. The official languages are Somali and Arabic. Many Somalis speak it due to the centuries-old ties with the Arab world and the far-reaching influence of the Arabic culture and religious education. Somalis are 99.8% Sunni Muslims. Somalia, like many of its neighboring countries, is full of tradition, rich heritage, and culture. Though it has been in civil war for the past 20 years, Somalis continue to thrive and strive within their communities in order to improve the situation it faces today. Due to the war, many Somalis have resorted to becoming diaspora in many of the neighboring countries, like Ethiopia or even in the Middle East. They have come so far as the United States and Canada and all over Europe. Somalis are well known in communities that are well established all over the world and speak many languages. So for our project, we will tackle the specific issues pertaining to the association between Somalia and the Arab League, as well as the Canadian Somali Arab identity. With regards to how Somalis define themselves, a simple Google search shows the confusions that many Somalis have with regards to being either identified as Arab, Black, African, even Caucasian, or mixed. To begin, we're going to start by asking, why did Somalia even enter the Arab League? The Arab League is an organization of Arab countries in and around North Africa, the Horn of Africa, and Arabia. Currently, the League has 22 members, including countries such as Algeria, Jordan, Lebanon, Kuwait, Bahrain, and Somalia. The League's main goal is, quote, to draw closer the relations between member states and coordinate collaboration between them, to safeguard their independence and sovereignty, and to consider in a general way the affairs and interests of the Arab countries. Somalia, as shown in this clip, joined the Arab League in 1974, becoming the first non-Arab member of that organization. A seat in the Arab League for Somalia meant potential economic gains and political support. Somalia has a long history of cultural, religious, and trade ties with the Arabs of the Arabian Peninsula. Although Somalis ethnically are not Arabs, identify more with Arabs than their fellow Africans. Countries such as Mauritania, the Comoros Islands, Sudan, and Somalia may seem confusing to be in the Arab League, but have several factors in common with other Arab countries, such as Arabic being an official language for the country, religion being the same for many, as well as cultural practices that are very similar in all of the countries. Somali people have a common culture with the Arab peoples which stretches for centuries. Ever since the Somali people embraced Islam as their own religion, there have been an influx of Arab traders from all over Arabia. Somali people started to mix with those traders, and not only did they accept Islam as their religion, but also Arabic as one of their official languages. Arab people also felt that they were welcome in Somalia and so formed alliances with the region. They often fought together against the Ethiopian emperors and the Portuguese. The other main reason that Somalia is a member state is due to the close proximity to the other Arab countries such as Yemen and Saudi Arabia. But being a member state does not necessarily mean that Somalia is an Arab country. Therefore, Somalia entering the Arab League is more of an economical, geographical, and political union, and here we would like to turn the tables and look at Somalis as individuals and what they consider themselves. For this part of the project, we decided to see what Somalis had to say for themselves, so we turned to popular social media platforms where Somalis have become very active over the past couple of years to see what their ideas were with regards to whether they thought they were Arab, African, Black, mixed, or anything else. Somalis have varying opinions as to who they are and what they define themselves. In these following clips, you will see the confusions that many of them face.
When you're filling out like forms and things like that, what do you click? There's no Somali option. Black African, Black Caribbean, Black other.
She's right. There are many options for Somalis to categorize themselves when given the choice. So what do they define themselves now? Here we see more opinions.
And also, I've read somewhere that Somali people are like dark Arabs. Excuse me, Somalia is in East Africa. Let me go to map because some of you people are kind of forgetting who you are, and let me direct you back to your life and let me take you back to your roots and like your family, because you are sort of thinking, okay, Google. Excuse me, we are in Africa. Africa. We're not in flipping Europe, are we? We're not in America, are we? So how can you be Caucasian? You're not in Asia. How can you be Asian? The map don't lie. The map don't lie. It says Africa, you are African. Your skin color don't lie. You are black.
Listen to this, yeah? Somalis are not black. Only dumb westernized youth being black nowadays, begging Black Lives Matter, but when their kind are killed, no recognition. By the way, they're not Arab also. Hold up. So, what this person is trying to say is, we're not black, we're not Arab, and we're not allowed to recognize movements like Black Lives Matter because we're not black. Okay, sorry. What are we then? I'm really confused. What are we? If I'm not black or white, am I dark white? Am I dark? Am I tanned white?
So this person is trying to deny that he's black and that he's Arab and that we're some kind of abnormal people that are just in the middle being black and white. I mean, for me, it just don't make sense because it just don't make sense to me, the fact that, I mean, I'm not denying that some Somalis do have really straight hair, yeah, but a lot of different Somalis have curly hair, some have more straight hair, more in. For example, I have more of a curly texture of hair. It's not necessarily Middle Eastern, and my sister has really like long straight hair like an Asian person. So what does that mean? That I'm more African and she's more Middle Eastern? I mean, it just don't make sense.
We are part of the Arab League, you know. We share culture with the Arabs. We share religion with the Arabs, you know. We share history with the Arabs. But the thing is, Somalia is an African country, you know. We are the natives of Somalia, you know what I'm saying? We as African as it gets, pretty much. But the thing is, before we even talk about our ethnicity, we should talk about Islam, you know, and how it changed us as people. There are a lot of mixtures, you know. There's no such thing as color, you know. Islam came to unite people, unite classes, you know. If you go to like Mecca, you see everybody, you know. You will see all these, you know, mixtures, you know. So before we make any judgments, you know, you have to understand, you know, the background, you know, you have to understand.
Judging from all these clips, we can see that the opinions are varied, but with a general consensus on the fact that Somalis do consider themselves black and in line with their African heritage. And the confusion doesn't exist between whether they consider themselves Arab or not. The gentleman in the last clip brings up an important point about Islam being an important factor in regards to Somalis and how they associate with Arabs. We will now look at other factors in regards to answering this question. It's important to note that Somalia has had a long-standing history with regards to colonization, and colonization has affected the language that Somalis have spoken throughout history. Historically speaking, Somalis, when they were colonized by the British, had English as one of their official languages, and when Italy colonized Somalia, Italian was also one of the official languages. So does that necessarily have to say with the identity of what Somalis consider themselves today? This begs the question that do Somalis consider themselves Arab just because Arabic is one of the official languages? Would Somalis have considered themselves Italian or British? These are all important factors when considering what Somalis truly consider themselves. It's a long-held, deeply complex issue, and most has to do with opinions and long-held beliefs. Here's a clip of a man speaking the various languages spoken in Somalia.
Italiani.
L'italiano dice, mai tu non pengere dal mondo, come tu vuoi pengere vai terra di arabo.
ايش معناته يعني؟
معناه يا اخي انا ما بدأ بكيت في الدنيا اذا تشتي تبكي يصير وطن العرب. فأنا الوطن العرب 3 مادة فيها حرام يستعملونها خاصة في المكلف. حد الأصل، طعن النسل، أقطع الأرحام. زين. واحد خلوه صومالي، واحد سوالي، واحد اندونيسي، واحد باكستان، واحد هندي، واحد اثيوبيا.
انت من وين؟
انا من القطن، بلادي القطن، عقران، شعب جدي علي بن حبيش جابري، من اهل عامر بن علي على عمر بن بدر.
الله اكبر الله اكبر.
Having discussed the Somali identity, we'll now move over to what it means to be Canadian and Somali at the same time. To conclude, the Somali-Canadian identity is very complex. In our opinions, we agree with much of what was said earlier and would like to elaborate more on what it means to be a Somali-Canadian. We believe that we're African because of our geographic location as well as the culture we share with the surrounding countries. We also agree that we have a lot of Arab influences within our language as well as culture and religion. And we also, with the new addition of being Canadian nationally, we have adopted various cultural similarities as well as language. The concept of identity is inherently one that varies from one person to the other. Some people may put certain traits of theirs in a hierarchy, while others may disregard certain aspects altogether. But at the end of the day, it is a very personal decision in how a Somali in particular should identify themselves and varies from person to person. Because Somalis are a very strong community in Canada, being part of the diaspora and the refugees fleeing the Civil War, being Canadian is a very dear and special part of all Somalis and has become an integral part of our identity. To conclude our project, we've looked at Somalia joining the Arab League and the influences for doing so. We've looked upon the opinions of many Somalians in various social media platforms in regards to their identity, whether they believe they're Arab, Black, African, mixed. We've looked at languages and its overall impression on our identity. And finally, we touched upon the Somali-Canadian identity. We hope our project shed some light on what it means to be a Somali-Canadian and conveyed that identity is deeply personal and a continuously developing issue.